Hello, I'm back with another video today. This is a tarot card reading, but it's not like a regular tarot card reading if you're new here. I am not using the traditional interpretation of the tarot, which is the Rider-Waite-Smith interpretation. I am using Carl Jung's version of the tarot. Carl Jung was a psychologist, and I am using this to ask questions about Lori Vallow and her headspace and everything like that. I don't want anyone to come across this and think that I am trying to make light of the situation. People were murdered, and people were shot at, and people were shot, and people were worse was done. I'm in no way, shape, or form trying to make light of the crimes that were committed. I am just curious about Lori Vallow's mind and what she thinks and why she did the things that she did. I'm not in any way, shape, or form looking for excuses. There are no excuses, but I believe that if we talk about these things and why people make the decisions that they make, as far as, decisions that impact society in a negative way, and even just family in a negative way, if we talk about these things and what happened to make these things occur, hopefully in the future we can prevent this with other people going forward. So that is the only thing I'm trying to do. I am not trying to ask guilt or innocence. I am not talking about the details of the crimes or anything like that. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just asking questions about Lori Vallow's mind and curious about her beliefs. I have done two videos before, and both of them are on Chad Daybell. So if you're curious to see those, they are on my channel. Those are the two decks that I'll be using. I normally don't use this deck. For Chad Daybell, I was using a different deck, but I just grabbed this one today. But I will not be using the guidebook that came with that deck. This is basically the guidebook that I'm using. So it is not the traditional interpretations of the tarot. I do want to make videos of those. I do plan on making a pick a card sometime next week. But for now, that's not what I'm doing here. And I will go ahead and I will get started. So I don't remember exactly what I did for Chad Daybell as far as like what questions I asked specifically. So what I'm going to do for Lori Vallow is I'm going to go to my double major deck first. The first card I'm going to pull is going to represent her early childhood. The next card just her childhood. The next card that I pull will be her early adulthood. And then the last card that I pull will represent her in the last 10 years. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start shuffling. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to pull 4 cards for her. I'm changing my mind. This card is going to represent her early childhood. The next card is going to represent her more as an adolescent. I know I did that out of frame. I'm sorry. I got 2 cards. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take them both because I usually need a clarifier anyway. There's only 2. Okay, yeah, there's only 2. So I'm just going to take those 2 for her adolescence. And then the next one is going to be her early adulthood. And then the 4th card will be represent her in the last 10 years. Okay, so also I am going to throw this out there, and I'm just because if this were a normal tarot card reading, I would throw this in there, and I feel like I should do it for this one. I find it really odd. I don't, I'm of age. I don't drink much at all. I go out to dinner maybe once a week, once every other week, and I will usually have a drink, maybe two, and that's if I order one at all. So I definitely have never experienced this before, though there really haven't been a lot of opportunities to. So maybe it's just a weird coincidence, but the two times that I have had alcohol, and I'm not promoting alcohol in any way, shape, or form, I have wanted to do this reading really badly. Like, I wanted to do it right then and there. And that's not normally something I experience. I don't automatically think, oh my gosh, I have to do a tarot card reading right now. That's not normally my thought process. But that was this time. And so, I mean, this channel is new. I'm very new here. So maybe that's just, maybe that, I don't know. But I just wanted to throw that out there that under the influence, I really wanted to do this, which I'm not necessarily like suggesting that she's under the influence of anything, but I do find that that could suggest that she's not in the right state of mind. But also, again, it could just be because I'm starting this channel. That didn't happen because I'm pretty sure I had at least, because I've done 2 videos for Chad Daybell. And I've been wanting to do these videos since Lori Vallow. I mean, I've had, anyway, whatever. Regardless, that didn't happen with Chad Daybell, and I did 2 videos on him. And I had at least one drink between those videos, I'm sure, I think. And it was just an odd experience, and I felt like I'd throw that in there. I feel like either that speaks to her not being in her normal state of mind when, I don't know, I just feel like that could potentially suggest the state of her mind. So the card that we have representing her in her early childhood is, so just a brief overview of this deck. This deck only has the major arcana and court cards, and it has 2 of each. One is the positive polarity, and one is the negative polarity, also known as reversed and upright. So it has 1 of each for the cards that it has. So it doesn't have the minor arcana aside from the court cards. So the first card that we have representing her in her early childhood is Strength in reverse. And then we had 2 coming out for the adolescence, but I'm going to go ahead and just flip this top one over, which is Justice in reverse. And then this is her early adulthood, is the Page of Swords upright. And then we have, in the last 10 years, the World upside down. Okay, super interesting. I love tarot because of how, I don't know, you never know what's going to come out. So I'm not new to this case, even though I'm new to YouTube. I'm familiar with Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell for the most part. I mean, I haven't done like a ton of deep dives on them, but I've definitely done at least 2. So I'm aware of the speculation about her relationship with Alex when they were children. I think I either heard a snippet or I heard a interview with Adam Cox saying that he thought that if there was any child SA happening with Lori, it was possible that it could have been a teacher of hers, because I guess a teacher had been convicted of doing that to another student. Convicted or fired, I don't remember, so don't quote me. But I feel like, so getting into what this deck is, because I did mention it's different than the other deck. So we have the Strength card. The Strength card is a female card, but the Strength card in reverse. So in this tarot deck, the Strength card is the female aspect of the Lovers card. So the Lovers card is, in this deck, the son of, like the collector of experiences. is meant to represent the Son of God collecting experiences, not necessarily the Son of God being Jesus Christ. That is not the Son of God they're referring to. They're talking about man. Man being the collector of experiences, and which is funny that we got that card for Chad Daybell, the Lover's card. I think we got it multiple times, I think. So it's funny that she has the female version of the lover, the female aspect of the lover, representing her as the collector of experiences in her early childhood. So I'm leaning towards something did happen to her in her early childhood. Based off of that's kind of what I was thinking when I saw this image and realized that it was the Strength card. So yeah, let me just go ahead and go on to the Justice card. This is the Justice in reverse, meaning the negative polarity. Sorry, Justice is also a female card. I think these are all female cards, actually. So we have had in her adolescence going with the Justice in reverse. The Justice in this deck represents the mother who punishes and rewards. I find it odd that this is an adolescent view of her, so I am going to go ahead and I am going to look at this second card because I am struggling a little with the King of Cups. Oh, the King of Cups upright, even. I am leaning towards if something did happen to Lori in her childhood, I do think that it was an adult. I'm not against it. If there was evidence that it was Alex or whatever, I'm not saying that it wasn't, but I would lean towards more of an adult figure. The King of Cups. So kings all represent fathers. I'm not saying that it was her father. I'm just saying that it was somebody, if not her father, of that age group. So with the mother who punishes and rewards, I find it interesting that this card represents her in her adolescence, as she's not... I don't know when she had Colby. I do imagine that maybe she had him when she was obviously she had to have him fairly young. I don't know if she had him as a teen or as a late teen, but I was more thinking like right after puberty when I pulled this card. So I would not view her as a mother at the point of this, which kind of leads me to believe that any mental issues that she had stems back specifically to this time in her life. Like I'm thinking like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is more or less what I was pulling this card for. 15, 16. I mean, it's possible that she had him when he was 16 or when she was 16, but I'm connecting the mother who punishes and rewards is reminding me very much of her now, but I feel like because I pulled this card at this point in time in her life, in this timeline, I feel like that the issues that led for the crimes to happen, the mental issues that she has started around this time of her life. I'm talking in circles and I'm not meaning to. I'm sorry. I'm just making sure that I am clear in what I'm saying and why I think the things that I think, because I'm just interpreting cards, right? I don't think I mentioned this in the beginning. I try to do a disclaimer, mostly because Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow are so weird. I don't think I'm a prophet. I don't think I can see the future. I think that I'm a tarot card reader. I think that I know what the cards of the tarot mean, and I think that I can interpret them when multiple fall out. That is what I am labeling myself as. I am not a prophet. I can't see the future, and which is another reason why I'm not asking about the future with them. But I'm asking about the past, and I do find that tarot cards are great for that as well. Sorry, I'm going off on so many tangents. I cannot keep my mind straight. I feel like I was a lot more collected with his reading as well. Anyway, we have the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is a female card. So it's also interesting to me that as she's freshly becoming an adult, because this card was for her early adulthood, as she's freshly becoming an adult, the most the most juvenile card comes out in this spread. There are obviously a lot more juvenile cards in the deck. This is the most juvenile card in this spread, and it is happening as she's becoming an adult in her life, which I find super odd because I'm pretty sure at this point she is a mother. Like, I'm pretty sure by the time she's a young adult, she had Colby. So the Page of Swords in this deck, and I can't help but think of the original, interpretation, the Rider-Waite-Smith interpretation is gossip. And I can't help but think of that here. But the Page of Swords in this deck represents a controlling daughter. So I feel like for whatever reason, something is happening in her early adulthood that's making her revert back to a child, or revert back to things that have happened to her as a child, or I see she is becoming less mature in some ways in her early adulthood as opposed to when she was honestly even younger. This female, I was going to say, this female looks to be the most put together. She doesn't look to be the most put together because, I guess technically she would look the most put together, but I cannot help but feel like Lori was the most put together when she was young, and I feel like something definitely did happen to her when she was a kid that distorted her brain in some way. Again, I'm not making excuses for her, but there are children that are experiencing this right now, right? And there are so many reasons why we would want to identify children that are experiencing any type of ABUSE. I don't think I can say the word on YouTube, but for many reasons. For one, it's horrific. It's horrific that a child would have to experience this. For two, when that child becomes an adult, there's a lot less empathy from other adults, right? Because by the time you're an adult, a lot of adults tend to look at you and be like, oh yeah, well, I've been through this and I've been through that. And this kind of does make me want to go back to Lori and say, I think that she liked attention, and I think that when she was a child, maybe the only type of attention she got was negative attention. And so as she became older, she didn't necessarily understand the difference between positive and negative attention in some aspect. Like, attention in general fuels a part of her brain, and it specifically goes back to probably having some type of neglect as a child. And typically neglect from a parent can very easily lead to SA. It just takes a predator to identify that a child is lonely or not getting the attention from their parents, right? And she's not an only child. She has many siblings. There was no way that Lori was going to be able to have all of the attention all the time. So when she got attention when she was younger, especially if it was undivided attention put specifically on her, something about that is what distorted her brain later on, or has helped contribute to distort her brain later on. The swords is also about the mind. These two cards have swords in them. Typically throughout tarot, the swords represent your thoughts. So I feel like definitely I think that this started young. I think there was a potential between her early childhood and her preteens, early teens, for something to have happened that could have changed everything, but it didn't. And I don't know the specifics, so I couldn't tell you what that is. But that would be my best guess and my best interpretation. And I do find this male card down here specifically relating to the Justice in reverse, and I do think that it was a man. I know, again, I know people have mentioned maybe Alex, you know what, maybe Lori and Alex by a man, we have no idea. I don't know how close they are in age and compared to all of the other siblings. but yeah, I think that it was an adult male. I don't think that it was Alex. And if it was Alex, I think that it might have just been an extension of this also happening to Alex. If you want me to do a video on Alex, I don't know that I will because he's dead. And the last thing I need to do is find out that I can talk to dead people with tarot cards by talking to a serial killer. But I'll think about it if you really wanted me to. Okay, so we have the card representing the last 10 years for Lori. It is the World. The World card in this, the World card in the Carl Jung's deck is the daughter who conceals herself. So again, we have a child card, and we have it. I feel like the most mature Lori was ever going to get was maybe like 13, 14. And I think that's also pretty apparent in her text messages with Chad. Their relationship was very juvenile in a lot of ways, and I think that a lot of that can point back to their faith. But the daughter who conceals herself, we already know she is a daughter. She ran away. She ran away from her family. She ran away from her siblings. She ran away from her parents. She ran away from everyone with her kids, and she killed them. I think that she has, before her belief, she attempted to present herself in a way, and then obviously once she connected with people online that felt the same way as her, she felt like she still couldn't reveal herself to her family, so she had to leave. I was kind of expecting a little more at the end, but I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like a lot of the issues that she has are issues that stem back early on that just continue to present themselves over time. I don't even think I'm going to use the other tarot deck. I don't even feel like I need to. I don't have any questions at this point because I feel like I get it. I feel like she probably was SA'd as a child, right? Like it's a fairly common thing. And they have accusations towards the family that are of that nature. And again, I'm not saying this King of Cups is her father. The fact that it is a cup card does usually tie to family. I just think it was, the best I can tell you is it was an adult male, in my opinion, based off of these cards. And I think that this adult male started something inside of her that never stopped. And yeah, I feel like there's a lot of her that didn't mature past early adolescence. All right, that is all I have. I can't think of any more questions, so I'm just going to go ahead and post the video as it is. Please leave your questions down below. Jane Doe, I appreciate you. I love that you watch my videos. I hope you see this one, and I hope you like it. I speaking directly to you now because it's pretty much just you and I here. I think I kind of want to make a deep dive channel. Like I'm thinking about it. I kind of want to stream deep dives because the whole community surrounding Chad and Lori is crazy to me. Like, it just is mind-blowing that there are so many Mormons, because I mean, you have obviously Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, Jody Hildebrandt, Ruby Frankie. If you guys want me to do a video on them too, I don't have a problem, but I really want to make a deep dive channel, and I don't want it associated with tarot because I don't know, I don't want to pollute the two. And I feel like right now this is just a nice combination of the two. I don't want people to see tarot and think that I'm making predictions about these people. I'm not. I don't want to do that. That's not what I'm using it for. There are many different ways to use tarot, and this is just one of them. And I just don't want them to be too intermeshed if I do a deep dive channel, because it would probably be on Mormons and possibly some true crime. But let me know what you think. I want to make more videos. I do enjoy it. I do work full time, but it is something that I like doing on my days off. Thank you, and please comment down below. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers so that I could do live tarot card readings or just answer questions about tarot cards live. So anyway, have a great night, morning, evening, wherever you are, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.